give a lengthy introduction. And thank you very much, Professor Vanishri. Generally, people don't heed to my request. You did heed. Thank you so much. All right. So,
Introduction.
yeah, definitely. Yes, I expected. Yeah, I expected something of this sort only. Anyway, so I'm here today trying to convey my deepest sorrows in academics, which is which is most of the talks going over the head, right? Almost all the talks we have attended, it gets very technical, and the speaker comes and talks about everything that he knows, than everything the audience is supposed to know. Right? Maybe the genre of this session, this very workshop, is not such that we can go on and on talking about the technicalities of, let's say, the most specialized topic on earth. It's in fact very crisp and clear that we are here to discuss adaptation requirements, at least from my title. I'm trying to quote adaptation requirements for the upcoming NEP. So in this connection, I would like to get you people geared and mentally prepared that none of what I'm going to talk is technical. It's pretty straightforward, and there are going to be a lot of take-home messages. And I am being bothered by a lot of PowerPoint slides, so I have decided in my life in general to never use PowerPoint slides. I hope you all are okay with it. So we are going to start off with some 12 questions. This entire talk will comprise of 12 questions and some activities. I request you all to please come forward and help us do this activity. Before we go ahead with the activity, I would like to request Professor Vanishri to please come in. I have a small request, if that's okay. Professor Vanishri, can we request the audience? Generally, the protocol is that they keep the video switched off, but some of them optionally can keep it open if they're around. Okay, I wish to make some of the questions sort of interactive. It will help if I can talk to them. So with Professor Vanishri's permission, can I request some of you to please switch on your video? If that's okay.
Yeah. You want all the participants to switch on the video, is
it? See, not yeah, exactly. So if it's possible, some participants may not be able to switch on for various reasons. It's perfectly fine if they don't switch on, but it'll be helpful if you people can switch on.
Sure, definitely. Yeah, we request all the participants to turn on your camera, please. Yeah, it's always like this when Sudarshan is there. He wants interaction. He wants an interactive session. Yeah, turn on the camera, please. Yes.
So the very theme of today's talk is adaptation to the post-COVID scenario of education, and one of those being online education. That's the crux of my talk. In a nutshell, there are going to be some shockers, some sort of solutions, and some solicitation from all your side as to what could be the right solution, right way ahead for us. All right. Thank you very much. Some of you have switched on your video. Can you all please log into the link that I have shared just now? Just click on that. It should say, it will ask you to enter your name. Just enter your name, and it will say the first question is coming soon. I hope you all are able to see that, right? Okay, wonderful. So let us go ahead with some questions. None of these questions will actually make sense with the title of the talk, but at the end we're going to connect all of them. So that's the pieces of different puzzles. You see, how do you solve a jigsaw? You don't know that a random looking piece like this will even mean something, but you put them together, it will be a Taj Mahal, right? So we'll try to do those jigsaw puzzle right now. Let us start with the first question. Kindly be interactive. I expect at least some 20 of you to participate, otherwise it won't be fun. Okay, so let's start with the first question. Feel free to switch on your mic and let me know in case you want some explanation for the question. I'll mute my mic for a minute and give you about 30 seconds to answer this question. So I hope all of you are able to see my screen. This is the output of what you people are doing. I mean, there's a nice portal called Item Pool where we get to see what is the response of different people. Some 8 people have chosen something. There's a slight divide between the first and the second option. I don't consider this majority is something that is more than 2/3 in my opinion, right? So let's wait for another 5 to 10 seconds and let's reveal the answer and even discuss. Spend a couple of minutes discussing this question. All right, so 10 people are saying some answer, which we will get to know what that is, and 6 say something else. Okay. So the question is this: is it, how come coffee does what it does? Caffeine in general, right? It gives you a high. Caffeine gives you what is called a caffeine high, right? Why does that happen? Is there any scientific evidence, or it's simply coincidence, or coffee is not naturally addictive? You put some stuff so that it becomes addictive and whatever. All right, so let's see the answers now and then try to discuss this for a minute. The answer actually is B, which is not the majority. Many of them said it is A. Okay. Yeah, so very interestingly, the story of coffee goes like this. It was randomly invented by a shepherd who was walking, and he saw that his sheep was dancing in a particular place every day. This happened somewhere in Arab, and he realized that the sheep would go and eat the coffee beans, coffee leaves, and it would get a high. And he realized that even he might get a high. He takes that and then eats. He becomes very happy, and that's how coffee was born. And later on, people did their share of research and then realized that coffee has this. Maybe you all can mute your microphone. I believe there's some background noise.
Is it better now?
Professor Manishri?
Where's Rafia? Can somebody ask Rafia to come?
Okay, I can mute. Okay, I have muted. All right. So coffee has this property. Why does coffee have this property? If you look into, let's say, if you Google for it, there's some very nice articles which say coffee wants, it's like territorial instincts. A dog of one territory doesn't like dogs of other territory. It won't let those dogs come inside. If it comes inside, they'll go and kill it, right? Similarly, coffee has this territorial instincts where it doesn't want any other crops to come in the neighborhood. So what coffee does is it secretes these chemicals. Not secretes, it generates these chemicals. The coffee bean has this property that whenever there's a coffee plant, it poisons the neighborhood so that nothing else comes in the neighborhood. It's actually poison. Caffeine is poison. But in small amounts, when you take poison, you know what happens? Your body starts getting alert simply because you have taken something that you are not supposed to take. So it's actually toxins that we consume, and that gives you the adrenaline rush. You feel like running away from that place. You get that bravo spirit, and that's how coffee works. Now, here are 2 things that we must observe. Point number 1 is nobody set up a center for advanced research in food technology and then bought a big project and then invent coffee. No, it happened serendipitously. By that I mean a shepherd was walking and randomly saw something, and he realized that this could work as a high giver. Okay. Number 2, after he found that out, scientists sat for several decades of time just to understand why does coffee, tea, whatever, anything that has caffeine gives you the high that it gives. Okay. Even people who smoke say nicotine gives them a high. How do these substances in general give high? The answer for caffeine was basically this. It's basically poison. Right? Now, what we need to understand, a take-home message from here, is things happen serendipitously. It is not in our hands. Invention of coffee, if not for that shepherd, someone else would have invented. Let us just take this take-home message and move forward to the next question. Okay, so we now have the next question, which is second question, which again, I think I have revealed already. So we'll skip this, but you people go ahead and then give your answers. Same link, whatever link I posted before. Let me post it once again for people who would have joined late. Go ahead and punch in your answer. Yeah, I generally see many people clicking on the last answer. I don't care. I need coffee now. All right. So yeah, it happened serendipitously, and it was discovered randomly. And many inventions were discovered randomly, including the invention of this cow dung cakes, especially in India. If you go to the rural side of India, you know what they did? What they do? They take cow dung cake, cut it, sort of dry it on the wall, make it in circular shape, and use it as fuel. It's a wonderful fuel. Okay, they use that for cooking too, or boiling water. Who taught them this, and which piece of research work said this is doable, and you guys, who wrote the first research paper on this, etc. It serendipitously happened. Someone realized that the cow dung dried version is a good fuel, and they tried doing it, the circular way, just so that they can maximize its potential as a fuel, right? So on and so forth. All right, so let's go ahead with this answer. You all got it right. Obviously, we had discussed this. The next one is an interesting statistical question. Okay, go through it carefully and punch in your answer. But please do think before punching in your answer. Do not Google, please. Okay. Go ahead, as you're answering, let me try explaining the question. The question is that do not imagine human beings, okay? Take some species. Assume there were some sort of an imbalance between the male and the female ratio there, okay? Assume the ratio was 9:10. For every 9 males, there were 10 females. What would happen? I mean, this lopsided gender ratio, if it were to increase further, will it be dangerous for the ecosystem? Or will it get auto-balanced all by itself? Okay, again, I see that the community is divided. There are 10 people answering something and 7 answering something else. Yes, go ahead, please participate interactively. This is also a good tool for you people to use it in your classrooms. I'm sure you have already realized it. If you do not know about this, I think item pool is a wonderful way to keep your classroom engaged. I use it extensively with my students and they thoroughly love it. I also thought it should be a good demonstration for you people, which is also connected to the talk that we're going to have. The best part is they can see what is happening, right? And you can keep all these things ready. All right, so thanks Annapurna and co. In fact, I'll be discussing more such classroom toolkits that you might like. Oh, there's a tie, 12. What is the point in revealing the answer now? Okay, so the answer actually is it will auto-correct itself. Point to note, your policies can trigger, but this is called the Fisher's principle. Fisher, a very famous statistician, said, in case there is lopsided gender ratio, right? Then he applies some theory of evolution. It's a little technical, but I can tell you if you're interested, maybe offline you can talk to me. The point is that gene which has a propensity to give birth to that gender will get selected. And that will populate the place and there will be more people like that. In fact, if females are more than male, very soon males will be more than females. And it will become like this. This is called the rocking horse model. Okay, and it satirizes itself like this going. It will go a little above and then this will push this down and come below, etc., etc. Which means, take home message, this piece of jigsaw puzzle is that, what should we learn from this question? Certain things auto-corrects itself in nature. It does not require any intervention from humans. Okay, although yes, policies are important just so that we are careful about what we do. Otherwise, we have seen infant feticide happening. To avoid that, we come out with some policies that gender should not be revealed before birth and things like that, and various other parameters. But then, yes, there are states in India where males are more than females, and also states in India where females are more than males. The point is, biology says, statistics says that it can autocorrect itself. Point to be noted, not about the gender ratio. The point to be noted is certain problems can auto-correct itself. Okay, where are we heading to? How is this related to the talk that's going to happen? You will see in a few minutes. Next question. We'll go ahead. A very important question, a very, very important question. Think before you answer. Okay, you can switch on mic and then comment if you want. If we were to rewind the tape of science, tape of life rather, it's not science, it's life, and we removed Albert Einstein from it, the world wouldn't have cracked the relativity theory. Is that true? I go and remove Thomas Alva Edison. Do you think we wouldn't have lights today? I will go and remove Adam Smith from the timeline. Ensure that he was never born. A very wrong thing to say. But metaphor, I mean, hypothetically speaking, do you think we wouldn't have economics today? Michael Faraday. Do you think we will not? Michael Faraday invented electricity, right? You think we wouldn't have had electricity today? Who is he? Marconi. Do you think we wouldn't have had radio today? Graham Bell. Do you think we wouldn't have telephone, right? Graham Bell is telephone. Telephone today? Okay. All right. Very interesting. Things are getting interesting. From now onwards, I think we must concentrate. We are going closer to the title of the topic. Okay, interesting to see. All of you seem to be agreeing on one question. Go ahead. Let me expect at least some 20 responses and I'll go ahead. Please participate actively, all of you. Some of you have joined a little late. Maybe I can post the link. Others who are not understanding what's happening, please click on the link and then punch in your answer. All right, super. So let's see what is the answer. It would be delayed, but Einstein or any other scientist for that matter, they are not indispensable. By that we mean, you remove Einstein, theory of relativity will not be born at that time, maybe a few years later it will come. All right, go and remove the Wright brothers from the timeline of life. Wright brothers who invented aeroplane. Okay, do you think aeroplanes wouldn't be there? Parallelly, aeroplanes were invented by many people. In fact, it was not invented in some hardcore HAL, NAL like laboratory. In fact, those laboratories came after aeroplanes were invented. Flying machines were invented. Okay, flying machines were invented by bicycle companies. Two bicycle companies fought for it, and then they parallelly invented and fought for the credit. If you want to know more details, watch a beautiful Netflix documentary on this. Anyway, what are we trying to say? We're trying to say that we probably should take home a message from here that leader worship is definitely bad, if not in any other place, at least in science. Because take any great leader, great researcher, remove him, there will be no damage to science. Someone else will come and do that and get the required Nobel Prize. Pick a Nobel Prize winner of your choice. Please remove him in the timeline. Imagine a hypothetical situation of a life in the parallel universe without him. That theory will come sometime. All right. So the point here is science trajectory, technology's trajectory. I would say, I mean, in a metaphorical sense, only God knows, right? It is not in the hands of humans, right? So you're observing the facts and figures, right? Due to COVID, we are now trying to switch to online education, right? All of you try to click on this window with a triangle icon, with a triangle, circle, and square there. There's a whiteboarding, Q&A, polls, and breakout rooms option in Google Meet. Google Meet is as old as, let's say, Yahoo Messenger. The first video chat messenger that we all have used in 90s. I'm sure most of you belong to the same age group as mine. We all have used Yahoo Messenger, the MSN Messenger, which was initially Hotmail, right? None of them had these things until very recently. It is only COVID that made us come out with the breakout rooms, polls, Q&A, whiteboarding, and whatnot. All right. Now, there is a quote in English which says, necessity is the mother of all inventions, right? If not for COVID, we wouldn't have had these four options come in Google Meet. Google Meet wouldn't have had this blurring option in the background. In fact, Google Meet has wonderful facilities. So is Zoom. You know, you can put a goatee, you can put mustache, you can, I am now clean shaven head, but you can put hair too on the head. Very soon that's going to come. You can put some lipstick on your lips, change your complexion and whatnot. All these things came to Zoom. Zoom was there long back before COVID, much before COVID. Nobody even knew the word Zoom. Zoom meant zooming in and zooming out. Okay, now Zoom is so popular, Google Meet is so popular. Why are we getting all these things? Necessity is the mother of all inventions. COVID happened, neither did the virus know, nor did the virologists know that this will lead to technological advances this big, right? Okay, so a point to again take home message is people are not indispensable. Technology has its own trajectory. In that connection, let us spend a couple of minutes. Okay, let us make it interactive. I request you all to please unmute your microphone and talk to me for a minute. Do you think the classroom education, the typical board classroom education is over? Question mark. Do you think? So this is all prediction. Nobody is an expert here. If someone says yes, definitely it's over, I will not fight with you. If you say no, it's not over, I will not argue with you. I will not debate with you. It is just a perspective. I have a perspective. I'm here to tell you all that perspective and create a call. There's a big call, quote unquote call, that I'm going to shout out at you people and request you people to gear up for the what is coming next according to me. Right? So according to you people, do you think the classroom education is over or no?
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I am Dr. Pankaj Rai speaking, sir.
Please, Pankaj, please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. What I feel is that classroom is going to be there, but there may not necessarily be four walls. So classroom could be anywhere. People may be taking classes from any place.
Okay.
So from that point of view, the classroom is going to be nullified. But from another point of view, if we remove the four barriers, then there must be classrooms.
Okay. So, okay, all right. So, any more takers? Good point. Good point. This is your take. I completely respect that. Let's listen to more points. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Professor Vanishri. Sure.
Yeah, I think a classroom teaching is going to be there. Perhaps a blended mode might be introduced. Some days some days classroom teaching and some days say online, along with some say self study.
Correct. So extreme blending, or see, when we go, and again, let's get back to coffee discussion. When we ask for coffee, we ask a chicory blend. What's the percentage of chicory is the next question from the shopkeeper. So similarly, I have a question. What amount of it will be physical classroom? What amount of it will be online sessions? A rough guess. Take a very rough guess. Whatever you think is right.
I think classroom is going to take the lion's share.
Lion's share will be classroom. Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay, and some minuscule part will be online teaching, right?
Yes.
So I suppose Professor Vanishri is talking for computer science, which by the way happens to be her area of specialization, right? I mean, an area of, your branch, ISCS is all the same in the eyes of the subject. Okay, all right. So anyone else would like to add anything to this?
So good morning, it's Annapurna.
Yeah. So what we'll do is you can raise your hands and I'll call out your name and we can start. Okay, so I see Vinay, yes, raising his hand, and then Vinay and Richa, in that order we can go. Yeah, Vinay, please go ahead.
Yeah, Surshan, given the diversity of students we have, especially say from a tier 2, tier 3 perspective, I do feel classroom teaching will form the lion's share of teaching approach, and I do feel where probably the online aspect would probably play a major role is with regard to the assessment, where whatever the topics delivered, probably we can leverage that tool wherein we can kind of monitor the progress on how much students are learning. So that would be coming from a tier 3 place like Mandya, where we see a lot of students from a diverse background and rural background. And given the digital divide which exists, even though it may not be that visible in the current scenario, I do feel classroom teaching will continue to play a major role. Correct.
Okay, wonderful. So looks like everybody is taking on one side. I would like to see someone take the other side. All right, Richa and then Muhammad can go ahead. I'm calling you all by first name. I hope it's okay. I also like to be called by your first name. Please feel free to not prefix any doctor or professor. Please go ahead, Richard.
Yes. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, I think blended mode of teaching has made the teaching learning very joyful. And students even are very interactive and made it very easier to learn many things. Even in this era of AI is going on. So this is very nice that we are using these tools. We people are also learning, and even students are also learning the new modes.
Okay, so maybe you are
But
okay.
sir,
Go on.
but we can't absolute the classroom way of teaching, because by that we are able to know how much the teaching and learning is successful. Students can, and simultaneously if they have any questions they can ask. Then one more thing I have faced, that some students in rural areas, they are not able to join these and these use these equipments very nicely. So we can't
So
absolute this
I would say, Richaji, I'm happy to hear this, because I would say your thought is the minority thought. In my humble opinion, I've observed many people trying to say that online education is not for me, at least they would say. And I know many of my colleagues who are very disappointed, so disappointed that a couple of colleagues even left academics because they didn't like this. They thought COVID is here to stay and they don't want to be here because they're not enjoying classroom teaching like environment in online.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so let's go ahead with Mohammed. Yeah, please, Dr. Mohammed. Please.
Dr. Sudarshan, myself Javed. What I think is that in our FDP, we had one session called as one session by Dr. Satish K. Singh, where he gave one recent one reference to one research paper which was published in transaction in some conference in teaching, learning, and assessment.
Somewhere. Okay.
So in that he presented in the last 15-20 minutes he presented a flipped approach. So flipped approach, I think this is going to make a lot of difference in the post-COVID. The reason is very simple, because it is the agglomeration of both the offline teaching as well as the online teaching. So people would provide much more online resources well in advance, and what they would do is that they would keep the classroom teaching only for discussion, like presentation or something like
flip mode. Typical flip mode, which was popular from quite some time. Flip teaching is you do homework in the classroom and watch the videos in the home, which is the flipping part, right? Otherwise you listen to the classroom and then go to
so this may happen in pre-classroom or post-classroom. Both will work out. I think this is and another very important issue here is that the acceptability is very important, because now the many IITs and IIITs, they are thinking of coming up with online MTech education. Okay. So if the society is accepting, if the government is accepting, or if there are a lot of jobs, because before 4 to 5 years we had part-time MTech, but that part-time MTech is nowadays it is gone. And now with the COVID, it has now once again people are thinking that we will go for online MTech. So I have seen that many.
So your take is that online will be there as in a blended mode. You're taking the sides of whatever people have said so far, but it will be flip will be more popular. Which means classroom will be used very sparingly. Or the lion's share will be for the class.
Here more important is the acceptability, how people will accept that one, like job opportunity.
This is a question. I would say I would like to put this question as a tossing the coin, like on a kind of gambling. What do you want to gamble on? Would you say that there will be more of classroom teaching, it will get back to normal, or it will be blended with lion's share being classroom or lion's share being?
It would be blended, and that depends upon we cannot say exactly that this much percentage will be there for
a rough guess.
So,
Just rough guess.
I think it depends upon the instructor, how he wants, and depending upon the learning rate that would go, sir. I cannot give exact percentage because that is totally dependent upon the.
Let's go ahead with our nice answers, wonderful. So let's go ahead with our poll. Try to answer the next 3 questions. Go ahead. So I have released the next question. The question is, what is the expected infrastructural magnification of the educational institutes post-COVID? Please understand this question properly. The question says, let me just share it with you. One moment. So I think you all are seeing the item pool. If you're not seeing, let me just share the item pool window here. You're able to see it, right? So kindly punch in your answers. The question says, what is the expected infrastructural magnification of the educational institutes today? By that I mean, do you all think if your students come back, you can manage the show with the same classrooms, same kind of hostel rooms? Or you need something bigger? Of course, smaller is not allowed. You understand what is social distancing. Social distancing protocol says 6 feet distance between two people, which means you should make, I am 5 feet 10 inches, maybe even someone taller than me should sort of sleep between two people, and that should be the distance that you must maintain. Okay, maybe this 2 arms distance between two people. 2 arms, not single arm distance, 2 arms distance between two people. Okay, now we don't even maintain single finger distance between two people. We just crumble them inside a classroom, one on top of the other, right? I mean, classroom is full house generally in our country. All right, so let's see what's the answer. All right. The answer is, please do not ask for any reference for this. This is my take on the answer. I feel it is 2.5 times by some back of the envelope calculation. Let me try telling you why. Okay, feel free to disagree here. I also do not know. Nobody knows. See, I have been building the ideas in such a way that the trajectory is generally unknown. People cannot guess what is coming next. It is historically observed, right? And things happen serendipitously also. Electric bulb was invented some 150 times. Aeroplane was invented some by dozen people parallelly. All right. So we do not know what's coming next. But why do I say it is 2.5 times? Okay, let me stop sharing and then discuss. I say 2.5 times because you can also do the calculation. If you put 6 feet distance between two people in a classroom, if you were to house some 60 people in a classroom, you can only house 25 people today. All right, number one. Number two, hostel rooms, at least I'm talking about my institute, right? A typical hostel room which is shared can no more be shared. Toilets can no more be shared. The wings where people take bath is right adjacent to each other. If one sneezes, the other person will panic, right? So you must increase the distance in the, be it toilets or be it dormitories or be it the classrooms. Imagine the amount of infrastructural ballooning this will result in, right? And if you make a 60-room classroom into 25, 25, 25, you need 2.5 times more teachers too. All right, already we have faculty crunch. We struggle for student-faculty ratio. All right, these things today we are not realizing, but with time we'll realize that this is going to happen. This is our first guess. There could be an expected infrastructural magnification requirement which we may not be able to satisfy. One of the biggest problems haunting Indian education today is the funding, is the fund crunch. That's why they're expecting you to write for projects. The very reason why this project thingy came into academics is because colleges abroad realized that with student fees we cannot function. We need something over and top of that. And who can get that money? Only an outstanding research faculty can get that money by writing projects externally. We'll keep the overhead, and from overhead we'll pump in the building infrastructure. Let us not tax the students. So generally, a student is pays very subsidized fee in top places. All right. So with this in mind, I have a feeling that we are entering into a danger zone. Once it comes back, once we are back to normal, all right, a small flu-like syndrome, flu-like illness, if 2-3 people will get, we will panic and we'll probably declare a forthcoming pandemic and then call it quits. We do not know. That fear has come inside us. We cannot sneeze in public places today. We cannot shake hands. All right. So let's go to the next question. 1 + 1 will give you 2 right now. Okay. Go ahead and answer this question. Again, seemingly very unrelated. All right. The question is, how many textbooks have you referred for a recent fundamental course that you have taught? Just to give you a nice idea, I want a volunteer here, Professor Vanishri or anyone from computer science background preferably. Can I talk to you?
Yeah,
Professor Vanishri is here. Professor Vanishri, we'll make it interactive just so that people understand the spirit of the question. What was the subject that you taught recently?
machine learning.
Maybe a fundamental subject, more fundamental than.
Okay, UG subject. This is software
UG
engineering for UG, yes.
Maybe even more basic.
Okay.
The last time, maybe some few years ago, 5
Few
years.
years back, yeah, C programming.
C programming and?
Yes, and what else? Data
Okay,
mining.
let's take C programming. What textbook did we refer for C programming?
We have a set of prescribed textbooks.
Prescribed
but
textbooks.
Yeah.
Maybe some 2, 3. The number is enough. You need not tell us the author. Some number. You refer to 1 book or 2 books or 3 books?
2 books.
2 books, right?
Yes. Balaguru Swami and Kottur.
Correct. So there are time it isn't, and we would refer 1 or 2. Generally, I like referring to only 1 book given any subject because that helps students to also stick to the book. But sometimes the syllabus cannot be covered from that book. All said and done, the author wouldn't have done a good job with some chapters. All right. Some other author would have done a good job in those chapters. So collectively, we pick some from here, some from here, and some from here. Now, all of you, please take a note of this. The books that you have referred for your subjects generally doesn't go beyond 2 or 3. In fact, you will not have more than 3 authors in limelight. Of course, you will get 20 books in C or C++ or data structures or databases or any subject that you say in your own domain. Okay, but only the top 2 or 3 will be popular. So I would like to call this out as point to be noted, your honor. All right, so this is very important. We have to sort of inscribe this in our books right now because I'm going to argue like a lawyer based on this very sentence only. Is it clear that we do not refer to a 3rd book? It's only 2 top books per subject? Generally, no. Very rarely some part of the world will be referring to some random hi-fi textbook, but most of us, we say, tell me about algorithms, you will name maximum of 5 books. There's no 6th book. If it's there also, it will not be available, out of stock, or nobody will refer to it and things like that. All right, now, let me reveal the answer here. Let's see. Okay, it's taking time. All right, there's no particular answer. Everything is right. So, why did I ask this question? I asked this question because assume I want to create a YouTube video today on what? On how to make tea. As simple as that. Now, in North India, in South India, it's generally filter coffee. In North India, it's adrak wali chai. That's very famous, right? It will be, they'll put some masala in it. It will be wonderful to drink. Given that I'm now half North Indian and half South Indian, I spent a good number of years in North India. I like adrak wali chai, and I have decided to shoot a YouTube video which tells us how to make this chai, the adrak wali chai of North India. Okay, I have decided. I'll get all the gear and I'll get my setup ready, the lighting, the camera, and whatnot. I mean, state of the art editing software and all that. And before that, I will open YouTube and then see. What do you think I will see on YouTube? You obviously will check, right? Is there someone who has already done a video on this, right? I will type how to make chai on YouTube. Guess how many hits I will see? Obviously many hits, right? After seeing the hits, what will I do? Can some volunteer tell me what my plight? I mean, will I record the video after seeing the hits?
You might give a rethought.
I might give a rethought because if you see some top 2, 3, in fact, there are very beautiful videos made by BBC. They have funded, BBC has funded, British Broadcasting Corporation has funded a lab experiment on how to make the ideal tea. You think I can beat that? I mean, take a second's pause and then think about this scenario. You think some a poor teacher like me can beat the state-of-the-art recording that BBC has done on how to make wonderful tea? What to put first, what to put next, and things like that. They have cracked it left, right, center of what use is Sudarshan's tip on how to make tea. Even if I put that, I will be 10th in number because 9 other people, someone with a cell phone, some student, some old person with a lot of wisdom has already made that. For me to beat all of them is a lot of effort. I will not be able to do that. Can someone tell me what are we discussing? Where are we getting at? Can someone would have guessed what am I trying to say here? The authors and Chai put together, YouTube videos put together. Do you think I'm getting somewhere? Can someone guess? No brownie points if you guess it right. It's very obvious. But if someone wants to guess where we are heading.
Yeah, so we need to implement some innovation in our teaching rather than following the same what others are doing.
Good point. Good point. But I would say the climax is that there is no need to innovate. Everything is done online. This recently happened. I will not reveal the exact portal where this happened. There was an institute. There was a setup for online teaching. Okay, and this setup. These people were trying to offer an online degree in an engineering-like subject. Okay, computer science, and the fees was roughly a couple of lakhs. And a lot of students gathered and they asked one simple question. You are making this course go online. And look at the smartness of students. I repeat, let's say me and you today decide that we will set up an online degree course at, let's say, SJC or NI or MIT or ATME or one of the colleges in Mysore. Okay, and we advertise heavily and many people come and join. Cost is 2 lakhs throughout the course. You don't have to come here. Everything is done online. Computer science, I say we don't have any requirement of hardcore, heavy-duty, experiment lab equipments. The students asked the following question. They said, "Sir, why would you want to charge us 2 lakhs? We also said we are going to get some IIT faculty to come and teach you. They're all, we'll get the outstanding teachers for you people. They have to sit to record. It's a lot of effort. We pay them honorarium as well." And students say, "Who asked you to do all these things? We don't want you to get the state-of-the-art teachers. You just give us the syllabus, conduct the examination. We will manage the rest. You don't find us the state-of-the-art teacher. We will find it ourselves." Okay. There's a blog from a girl from a top university abroad. I will not name. You can talk to me personally. I will send you the link of the blog. She's an Indian. She makes this very nice remark saying, "Why should I listen to this Nobel Prize winning teacher coming and teaching me 30 hours in a semester, and I pay so much for this university, while back in India, someone has posted a video in Hindi which explains it much, much better than this Nobel Prize winning person. Of course, I need affiliation, club membership of Harvard, Stanford, Princeton, and whatnot. So you like the club membership there, but do you really get many amounts more, upteen amounts more benefit from this club membership? Today, the world says no. The best video on, let's take up a simple idea. Most of you are computer science background people here, if I'm not wrong, right? So let's take up an idea of writing, how do I write a piece of code for breadth first search? Okay, you will get the best video online on YouTube. Please note, look at the best video for depth first search. It will not be by the same person. It will be by a different person. Okay, best videos are distributed online. And for me to beat all the best, in fact, they themselves have not tried beating each other in compiling a thorough course on, let's say, algorithms or data structures per se, right? I cannot go and say, I will offer a fantastic video lectures on machine learning. There are so many out there already. In fact, what you get on YouTube are not the nice ones, in my humble opinion, but you should search down the list. Some good ones are somewhere hidden there. It will be some random student or a random, young professor or a very experienced old professor on some portal, etc., etc. So now this is food for thought for us. We may want to think for a minute. Think for a minute for the following reason, that people are actually preferring online education. I go and clean my sink by looking at a YouTube video. Okay, as a professor, I don't know how to clean my sink. I look at the YouTube video, learn how to do it, and then go and clean it. Okay, on some day, let's say, I need to cook. I look at YouTube video on how to make bisi bele baat or puliyogare and then do it, and it comes out decently well. At least I like my own food, right? So YouTube University has really become a university. Maybe it's not perfect. We all agree that it's not trustworthy, it's not perfect, but it's there. once you put the videos there, why do we need me to go and handle an online class? A conundrum for today's discussion. Biggest conundrum. I think I want you all to think and even maybe unmute and then tell me, why do we think that we should go? Why does my HOD expect, right, in a let's say engineering college, that you have to go online and conduct a live session and teach this algorithm or this concept from your desk only, with your slides only, and do not point your students to an online resource? You should only teach. Imagine 10,000 teachers in India are teaching the same subject for which the videos are already ready. Now, this is like having 10,000 authors of a textbook. When you already have the best author, what is the need to go ahead with a 10th author like me? I'm not even 10th, I'm probably 100th author in the crowd, maybe even worse than that. So why should my students listen to me is the biggest conundrum. The reason for this is we always generally follow what we were doing before. In a typical classroom, we would go and teach. Okay, is there any comment? Someone has unmuted their microphone. Okay, so it's not difficult.
Because there is that connection.
Yeah, emotional connection, right? That's what people say. Correct. So there is this emotional connectivity which we do not have in the online teaching scenario. Let's get there in a while. But then our premise right now would be, let us face it, there's going to be infrastructural ballooning, number one. Number two is, if not students, if not teachers, the rest of the world at least have realized that the best videos are there hidden in some dungeon of YouTube. Or if not, once created, there's no need for a second person to come and create. The example of the BBC tea. Right? There's no need for me to go and create a YouTube video on how to make tea because BBC has done it. And if I want to do it, I should do really, really better than that. There's no need basically. Right? So do we really need 10,000 teachers in India trying to, make a YouTube video on how to make tea? Absolutely no. Slowly we'll probably realize, but there's a small mistake that is happening, which is we all think that there's some hissing noise from the microphone. Can you people please? I'll give you a minute. Yeah. I'll give you a minute. Just let me finish the thread. All right. So there's no need for us to do this. Point number one. Point number two is this infrastructural ballooning. If you want to go to the classroom once again, it's going to cost us quite a bit. All right. Number two. Number three is technology slowly changing. That is where I should take you people right now. Did you people now realize, in fact, I had a nice tool set up on my desk to show you technological marvel in teaching, but then that did not work for some reason. There was some Google Meet and the software clash. I could not show you. I prefer online teaching over offline teaching. Someone come and punch me, I will defend. All right. I personally, like how it was Richa, right? Richa said that she enjoys online teaching. I personally prefer, as a student, not as a teacher, as a student, I prefer online teaching if the teacher knows how to teach well online. Right? If the teacher simply replicates what one does in the classroom and comes and teaches online the way he or she teaches in the classroom, it's not going to work. Right? Look, for example, we used item pool. Okay? Trust me, all your students, at least you will observe that 75% of your students will participate if you try item pool in your classroom, which is not possible in a typical classroom. All right? There is yet another tool which I will show you. The point is not about tools. The point is the following. You remember the Venn diagrams that we used to write as students, right? Venn diagrams of what is possible and what is not, right? A, B, A intersection B. At least I could show that to you, but I believe you all remember it, so I'll give it a skip. The point is, there are certain things that you can do in the physical classroom that you cannot do in the online world. But there are certain things that you can do in the online world which you cannot do in the physical classrooms. That is also, the fact of life that we must slowly accept rather. Okay. For instance, there is this facility called breakout rooms. Can you all raise your hand? How many of you have used it? Just a small poll, just so that I understand that you have. Maybe I see Vinay, Ratna, and Rekha. Some of you saying that you have used it. Not many have used it. Trust me, that's an amazing facility. That's an amazing facility which you which you otherwise cannot replicate in a classroom. Breakout rooms has been an elixir, at least in my experience in my own classrooms. Right? You cannot segregate students into five teams and ask them to discuss. You know, there'll be crosstalks and then noise, and they cannot concentrate, and it will be over in before it begins. But here in the online world, you can do it. There are things in the offline world that you cannot do in the online world. But let us accept there are things in the online world which we cannot do in the offline world. We are simply trying to replicate the offline teaching online. I'll tell you one such experience I had about 2-3 years ago, pre-COVID, but which I'm extensively using today, post-COVID too. A quick anecdote, a small anecdote. Once I went into the studio to record my lectures. I was offering this NPTEL course. I went inside and the cameraman said, "Sir, we'll start the lecture." And I told him, "My friend, today, why don't we give it a skip? Because I'm not prepared with the slides." And he thinks, "And sir, I came this early in the morning for you. Now you're saying you cannot, give a lecture. Do something, sir."
Sudarshan, can you hear us? I think there's some network issue at your point.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah. We can hear
sorry.
you, but the video is happening.
Video is not there. So there's some problem with the power. It will come in the next 2 minutes. Let me go ahead.
Yeah,
This is a
sure.
good example of what can happen in the online world, which doesn't happen in the physical world. All right. So the point is that this is not a bane. We can probably fix it. I am the one without UPS. So I'm using my heavy duty desktop, which cannot be fitted with a UPS, at least as of now, with all the lighting around. Anyways, let me continue this way just for a couple of minutes, and then I'll switch back to my desktop once the power comes. All right, so I was trying to tell you that I had this experience of going into the studio, and the person says, "Sir, you have to record it." And I told him, "I'm prepared for my lectures, but I don't have the slides." And he said, "Sir, you imagine you have slides and then you give your talk." I mean, I was like, "How is that?" I mean, this sounds like Arjuna, closing his eyes and then he could shoot his arrows. Without slides, we teachers become, without hands and legs. We like watching slides, and then, even without preparation, we can give a talk if we have slides, right? So I was pretty nervous, but I thought, let's go ahead. I was sort of semi-confident, if not fully confident with the topic. I went that, and trust me, I realized a new skill that day. That slides are best done after giving a talk and not before giving a talk. Guess why? Can someone tell me why? I repeat my experience. I have been to my studio with the PowerPoint slides, delivered my talk, and I have come back. There was a time when I went without slides, imagined what I could teach, and then simply taught without worrying about slides, and went back and did the slides according to my talk. Okay, and I realized it was a sort of much better than my usual talks. Can someone guess what just happened? Anyone, it's a very weird scenario. Do you think you will be able to do well if you were to give a talk and then mix it with the PowerPoint slides later? Or is PowerPoint slides important before you go to the lecture?
Yeah, I think Rekha Sundari has raised a hand.
Sure.
Rekha,
Rekha, please.
answer? Ms. Rekha Sundari?
Okay, no problem, no problem.
Okay.
I'll continue. In case someone wants to say something, you can intervene and then give your points.
Yeah,
The
Mr.
point
Ashok,
is, this is
Mr.
a...
Ashok is raising his hand.
Yes, sir.
Sure,
We'll
sure.
be not restricted to the slides and we'll speak whatever there in our thought process. We'll be able to speak whatever is the thought process, not being restricted to the slides. If the slides are being depicted, we'll be restricted to the slides and we'll to
Absolutely.
speak whatever it is.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's a bullseye. So what just happened, what generally happens is the moment you put PowerPoint, you feel handcuffed. All right? But that's how it is. Hello? Yes, Professor Vanish.
Will be there. 14.
Professor Vanish?
Sorry. Yeah.
No problem, no problem. So I have muted, no issues. So yeah, so the moment you create a PowerPoint slide, generally when the students watch your talk with the slides, they get confused because you are using their cognitive parallels. I repeat, you are using their cognitive parallels. One is you expect them to listen to you. Second is you will expect them to read also from the slides. These two things, your eye and ear, cannot happen at the same time. Right? Cannot work at the same time. Unless you're reading with them, they all are reading together like they're chanting, reciting national anthem. Right? So this we have not cracked so far. We never realized it. But trust me, when you create slides based on your talk, you will see a new kind of a movie direction like thing coming in there. You will observe that the point of power is not PowerPoint. I repeat, the point of power is not PowerPoint, but it is you. This is possible in online education. Again, please take a pause and think. Randomly going to a classroom, finishing a 1 hour lecture and then coming back, one thing. Second is you go in front of your camera, talk your heart out, prepare your slides later on, all right, and then give it to your students. The impact is more and mountain difference. At least in my case, I'm sure many people have experienced this. They have told me, but you should also try it. The point is not about my little experience. Here I am to brag about what I did. No, I'm trying to say that in this Venn diagram, there are certain things that you could do in a live classroom, which you cannot do in the online world. But there are also things that you can do in the online world, which you just cannot do in the typical, physical classroom. Close to impossible. In fact, I have one of my favorite teachers. Okay, he was very upset about coming online and teaching, but I personally like him, like the online version of him, because his handwriting is very, very small. Whenever he gives a talk online, he writes on his iPad, and the font is very big. If it's not big, I can magnify it. Okay. If he's very low in voice, I can increase the volume. Correct. All these obvious advantages, we all have it. All right. And these things will issue out in action very soon, and people will realize that if we can tap on the potentials of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points, probably online teaching may have an upper hand. And given that there is an infrastructural ballooning happening too, okay, and the author conundrum that I told you, the paradoxical comment, that argument that there cannot be more than 2 authors at any given time, there cannot be more than 2 or 3 videos online, right? I don't want to be the 4th one. The world probably is going towards online teaching completely. Again, whether we like it or not, the trajectories of technology have been unpredictable. Okay, some useless idea will become very useful in some time. And whatever people said when radio was invented, radio came after audio visual. And people said, I have my power back. So let me take a minute's time and continue with the audio visual example that I was giving you people. Let's take a minute's break. Maybe it's also midway into our talk. Maybe Professor Vanishri, if you may allow, we'll take a couple of minutes break and get back.
Definitely. Yeah, we'll take a couple of minutes break. We'll get back. Stay with us.
Hello, Vanessa ma'am.
Yes, please.
Yeah, ma'am. Can I say something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure,
go.
sure. I'm back. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, hello. Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
He's unmuted. Sir, I didn't get your name, but it says Arpana Roy. You have something?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, actually, no, I thought that by the time he fixes the problem, I want to say regarding the my that actually I'm using from different cell. That's why my name is different there. So
Okay.
it's my humble request so that you record my attendance, please,
Oh, sure,
because
sure.
my cell was damaged yesterday.
Yeah, sure. Yes, sir, we'll do that.
Yeah, let's get back.
Okay.
I request. Yeah, so the microphone's muted. All right, so getting back, the story of radio I was telling you, technological trajectory once again. People thought that why do we use radio because we have audio visuals when we can see and then hear. Why is radio even important? When I think Marconi came out with the idea of radio, but then they never realized that there are situations where your eyes are occupied. You're driving, your eyes are occupied, your ears are free. Ears also are occupied. You should listen to what's happening outside. But generally, it's okay. You have a AC car. You have, you give a lot of EMIs for your posh high-end model of a car that you bought. So you can switch on the radio and then listen to. People never realize that radio is useful because sometimes this sense will be occupied and this sense is free. You're cooking, right? You need your pair of eyes for that, but your ears are free. You can switch on the radio. People never realize radio will be a super hit. Till date, no matter what comes and what goes, radio is still, the technology that will never go obsolete. We like random songs popping up on a radio channel, right? So that's why FM is running. Although many things have closed down, many of the Google products have closed down, but radio has not closed down. You see, technological trajectories are unpredictable. I can go on giving this talk, you can give a counter talk, and we all can get together and then have a left and right wing and discuss about what's going to happen next. But technological trajectories will probably decide on what is the ideal path, and it will move in that path. Appears to me, second me or don't agree with me, appears to me the cost cutting which generally will happen, the cost involved in a ready-made lecture is a lot less compared to a a lecturer who makes himself or herself ready and comes to the class, right? There's a huge difference between these two things. And I believe the time has come where COVID is here to stay or not, we do not know, but we have realized that online teaching seems to have some upper hand over physical classrooms in some situations. Right, I was telling you, I like my professor not on the board but online. He is the kind of professor who is very good online than offline. There could be some people out there who are not so good near the board, but are very good in front of a camera like this. Let's say I'm being probably a bad speaker right now, but someone much better than me in front of the camera can give a better talk than what I could do in front of a board, right? Yeah, so that's a good question. So Professor Muhammad asks, what is the effort? Professor Javed asks, I'm sorry, I got your name wrong. What about the effort required in online teaching? I think more effort. What is your take, sir? Wonderful question. I personally think I'm not working for the past 2 years. All right, please, if Professor Vanish is recording this, please cut this part. That doesn't go to my employers. I'm actually not teaching anything for the past 2 years. I've forgotten my subject. Right? The reason is in 2017, I recorded 3 NPTEL lectures. One on discrete mathematics, one on social networks, one on introduction to programming. Also called the joy of computing. Okay? Roughly, if you can teach some 2-3 subjects, you can keep shuffling that and then keep teaching that. All right? I have the dependency is so much for me right now that I watch my own lectures and prepare from them. So to answer your question, once recorded, once everything is set up, it's like a book that you write. Once written, you don't have to redo any work there. Or if you keep giving live sessions in every online lecture, that's different. As Professor Javed says, if we employ flip teaching, where 30 hours of my videos on social networks, I put forth quite some effort back then. Probably I had time and effort, and I was also back then some 3-4 years younger than what I am right now. Had some energy, recorded, and I kept it there. And I think I myself like that version than this version. Why should I give this older version of a professor to my student?
Sir,
Once you record
sir,
everything properly, yeah, please.
Sir, there is one compliment, sir. Actually, I was just going through your video, sir, NPTEL video. I saw discrete mathematics, and I really means I am really impressed by the way you have means I am seeing that there is a lot effort put in creating one small video. So I request all the participants who are here, so please go through the videos. And and I did not knew that you have video for introduction to programming. I think I would see introduction to programming your videos, and definitely this time I would like to teach, and I would like to give the reference to that.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for the
To
testimonial,
add-
and I must add. Please.
To add, even the joy of computing is worth watching, Mohammed.
Yeah, sure.
Try that, Javed. Yes.
But lot of effort, lot of research, and lot of people are involved in doing that video. And sir, just to ask you, how much time you have taken, sir, that to record one course, sir, approximately?
Very nice questions. Firstly, thanks for the compliments and the testimonial that you gave. I hope people here take a look at it and then also share it with others, because we have spent quite some time on that. And I must completely convey the compliments to my students, because probably my effort was only 10 to 15% there. Rest 85% from what shirt to wear and how to present and what accent to use and what words to not use. My students choreographed it, especially my PhD students. It involved at least 1 hour of recording, involved some 20-25 hours of preparation and post-preparation, animation and all that. So the course Joy of Computing, especially, we thought we should bring in computer science from the outside world. Rather, we should walk out of the classroom and then teach, than stay inside the classroom and teach. That's the introduction to programming, which Professor Vanishri was mentioning. I think whatever we did, I must really be modest here and confess that there was absolutely no teaching skills employed anywhere. It was simply, sitting and thinking with a bunch of people, how can we do better than a typical classroom? And we realized that surprisingly, we could do better than what we generally do in a typical classroom. So to give you a nice tip, if you hack it properly, if you sit and think, can I be a better version of me if I go online? I think definitely yes, 3, 4, 5 folds better. You get chance to repeat your classes, and you get the best version of you recorded, kept for your own reference later on. Correct? So I request you all to please try this, and if you require, we also conduct FTPs on how to record lectures that are sort of meaningful, how to choreograph your classes just the way you would choreograph a movie, a screenplay, a movie. There's this involvement of good camera angle, right lighting, and right talking, good accent, good voice modulation. All those things matter when we are teaching. We cannot do that in a physical classroom. We probably can do it in a online classroom. Anyway, so my experience was that whenever I did this flip teaching, students were happy, I was happy, and I have not worked for the past 2-3 years. Literally, I have forgotten my subject simply because I need to refer to my own videos to prepare. If someone says, come give a talk on this particular topic, I refer to my own videos, and then I'm not exaggerating. This is what will happen to you also. It's like writing a book. When you write a book, you will refer to the book before going to the class. Your own book, your own lecture notes.
Dr.
Right?
Sudarshan, I just want to interrupt. Sorry, I want to interrupt you.
No problem.
Sir, when this workshop is going to happen in future regarding the recording of the videos and all these things, sir?
So point one is there is one happening by the end of this month. I can put you in the loop in case
Sir,
you're
please
interested.
share the link with us, sir.
Sure. Point number 2 is anyway, Mysore is full of my friends. Professor Vanishri is a good friend. So if she wants to conduct, we are all in. Some interested people. Lesser the better. I would say more is not merrier here, because we should discuss in a sort of a closed room. We can have an online session on this. So maybe one of you can take care of it and invite me. I don't worry much about making it formal, honorarium and all that. I think it's sort of service. I'm paid salary by my institute. I'm paid to sort of help others here. I'll be very happy to help the teachers of the country in whatever capacity possible. With whatever little I can help, I'll go ahead. Please conduct one, and I'll be there to talk. I can even invite some good people I know of from different places who have also sort of figured out how to do it. Indian scenario is different. Foreign scenario is different. Udemy courses, Coursera is different. Our course for 30 hours is different. So if you are in a cricket field, you should play cricket. You cannot play cricket in football field and vice versa. So there are some hacks that we would like to tell you people. Maybe that can be arranged. Anyway, so let me now go ahead and connect all these things to NEP, which by the way is the theme of the entire workshop, right? Okay. So let's just summarize so far. There's a question, sir. Can you select about link to access? Okay, I'll send you all the links to the video lectures maybe at the back end of this discussion. All right. Okay. So let's put all the pieces together. Piece number one: trajectory. We do not know. The world doesn't know. Necessity is the mother of all inventions. It will move in some trajectory. We will not even realize that this is happening. It will come tomorrow. Right? Infrastructure ballooning. Second point. Third point is that cost cutting and the online education is actually very productive. We are yet to figure that out. Once we figure that out, fees will come down. University system will probably collapse. We do not know, right? And there'll be demand for people who can do well in front of the camera than do well in front. See, all this point of publications, research, journal, citation, impact factor, etc. came because people thought that a teacher should also be a scholar. Okay. Now there's an era which is soon coming. I keep giving these examples. Let me give this example before moving ahead. Once upon a time, the drama artists were very poor. People who would do theater, okay? They would just eat one square meal and that's all they would get as part of their theater troupe, right? Nothing else. Maybe some pocket money to enjoy their life when they keep traveling from one end to the other. They would go like the circus people from one place to the other. And what happened some few, roughly 75 years ago, camera came inside the theaters and all these artists walked out of theaters because once the camera comes in, they become Bollywood stars and they stay in Mumbai right now in posh apartments and whatnot. Once upon a time, the same artists actually did not have proper food to eat, would wear, torn clothes, and they would just manage a square meal. And today they are top class stars. Now, my call is, teachers should also be scholars, they said once upon a time. Historically, it's an accident, by the way. You can go and see why publication thinking even came to academics. It actually doesn't make sense. The controversial discussions later. But teachers should also be scholars is now converted to teachers should also be actors. If you're good at I'm sure you all are watching some YouTube videos. In a YouTube video on cooking, or there's a YouTube channel called Karate TV. This chap teaches karate, and he does so much of his comic timing is so good that there's more comedy there than action, and we enjoy watching it. There's a YouTube channel called FitTuber. He gives some fitness related. None of them are sponsoring this talk. I'm just quoting them as examples. FitTuber. He gives very good fitness related tips, but makes wonderful jokes in between. You cannot take your eyes and ears off from this fellow. FitTubers, Karate TV, there are many such channels who have realized that, content is not the only thing why people come here. They also want some entertainment. Okay, this was precisely the idea of the concept of Navarasas in the theaters of the past in our country. And the same thing also was invented in the Greek civilization. In some of the Greek mythological texts also there is reference for how you should bring in all kinds of emotions in your teaching. You must bring in some tragedy, some comedy, some whatnot, and all the 9 different, some shock value should be there in your talk. Otherwise the talks are not interesting. Why is it that we sit and watch a 3-hour Bollywood movie? Well, we cannot listen to a 40-minute talk. That's because we don't bring in all these Navarasas. There's only one rasa. A long-faced professor comes, stands there and says, I know everything, you don't know anything, and makes you feel stupid. Right? So this will change once the camera comes inside. Only if you have good comic timing, probably you will be that first author on YouTube equivalent I was talking, right? So you will be sort of famous, rather infamous, who knows. But there's no demand for the third person over there. The horizon is completely changing. Probably education will be the following. You will be in demand if you can do well in front of the camera. If you understand the ideas behind lighting the room and acting well and choreographing your moves right, your dance moves right, only then teaching will go on well. Probably a 70-year-old professor will deny all these things, but you should come and see the technology, the kind of advances Adobe Express has made in terms of I can simply replace myself and put myself into my window, Vim or editor window, and when I'm programming, I can actually go and type on the letters and then show you the programs. In fact, I could give that demo in one of these FDPs which we were discussing, we'll conduct. So the world has changed and we also should change. My call for you all is we should probably stop cribbing. We should probably stop expecting the physical classrooms to come back. Mostly they are not coming back. Even if they come back, it will be for a small spell. We are going to get back to the online education. There is great demand for not a person, trust me, in India today. I know a few vice chancellors and directors who have directly told me, this is an open statement, said, we do not want someone who can sort of teach well or he has outstanding publications. We want someone who can record lectures well. We want to set up a recording sort of a studio in our place and then want our videos to appear on, there's a popular university, you can Google for it, I need not name, in India. They are sort of overdoing the lectures online. It's a very sort of local engineering college, but still they have tried their level best to ensure that their videos pop up whenever someone goes to YouTube and types something and their university's name comes. And people will say, oh, I will join this university. So the advertisement part also is covered there. If a teacher who teaches really well is from this university, then the university's name goes high. Who cares where that person is publishing and how many citations he has, how many awards he has won, right? So yeah, absolutely. Digital marketing in a sort of a very different sense where you have your affiliation, you do well, and that affiliation gets the credit, right? Okay, so the world is changing, the trajectory is changing. We do not know what's coming next. I would like to pick 2 points from NEP and answer them right now. All right, so let's take 10 seconds break. By 10 seconds, I mean the amount of time I will require to go through my item poll, and we will try to answer a couple of questions collectively. Okay. Okay, so let me, 1 second. Okay. Again, a small break. We will break as in we will answer this question, slightly unrelated but important, still linked piece of a puzzle. Take a look at the for some people who do not know the link. This is the link. Try to click on this, and maybe you should put a HTTPS in before that. Come there and try to answer this question. The question is very simple. We all have 2 eyes, right? Correct? If evolution were to restart from the beginning, will we still have 2 eyes once again? This is called stereographic projection. In some of you are image processing experts, you would know this, right? There's a point in having 2 cameras. There's also a point why the 3rd camera, 4th camera, 5th camera on your mobile phones probably will not work as efficiently as moving from 1 camera to 2 cameras. The stereographic projection, you see, is very powerful in living beings. If amoeba say we have come, right? 4 billion years ago, amoeba came, unicellular organism, and then we all evolved from that. If we were to redo this once again, just like the Einstein question, okay? If we were to redo this, do you think we'll again get eyes? They have done this experiment, by the way, multiple times. Both biologists, physicists, and even physics, they've created mathematical models out of it, computational models out of it, and the answer is yes. No matter how many times you will repeat life in some other planet, some other universe, some other multiverse, species will start having 2 eyes, 2 ears, but only 1 mouth. Okay, 2 nostrils. I really do not know why I did not get the right reference for it, but why 2 eyes, why 2 ears? It's very advantageous to have 2 eyes and 2 ears. You get to sense the direction by having the stereographic projection, right? So again, the community is divided. Very nice. We have some nice janta who are for and against. Okay, the answer is there will definitely be several creatures which will evolve to have just 2 eyes and not more. Some people said, can't say the trajectory of evolution is impossible to predict. Yeah, I have been saying trajectory of technology is impossible to predict. That was a trick question. Trajectory of evolution, at least in terms of eyes, is actually easy to predict. People have done many experiments, and they've observed in what is called the phylogenetic tree. There were species that started off with only light sensors and they developed eyes. In several species that has happened. Even in humans, eyes is a boon to us, and 2 only, not 3, not 1, it is 2, right? 2 is the magic number. Anyways, so let me go ahead and 8th question, 9, 10. So how many more years you think COVID will continue? A small question. Go ahead. Let's see what you have to say. After this, we'll go with I have been giving you 1 mark question. Next will be 10 mark question. We all will answer it. It is fun to answer it collectively. Okay. So someone says, gives an answer. Will it end this year and we'll get back to classrooms, or will it go on for another year? Not sure, says Jeevaratna. Correct. We are not sure, but a rough guess if you were to again gamble. If you want to bet a big money, what would that be? What would your bet be on? 5 years. Okay. Good to see that people, last year they were saying that in 2 months everything will be okay. And after that they said once the vaccine comes, everything will be okay. And vaccine has come, 2 months is long over, right? Yeah, now the prediction is somewhere between 2 to 3 to 4 years. We do not know, right? But the fear will always be there. Any flu-like symptoms, we will think, we are in danger and we cannot come in contact with each other right now. India is a land of population. Right, we're the most populous country with over how many? 1.6 billion people. That's like several folds more than US, some 3-4 folds more than US. US is so many folds bigger than India, but we are so many folds more in population, right? So we cannot be the way other countries are. Correct. So it looks like it's a thing of the past. I don't know. I'm sorry. The answer I'm flashing here is my personal opinion. I may be proved wrong tomorrow. I do not know. But it looks like it's going to be difficult. Anyways, this is just a fun question. Let's go ahead. As I've been asking you only 1 mark questions. Let's go ahead with some 10 mark questions, essay type question. Okay. So I request you all to please, some of you may be using your mobile phone to type. Some of you are using your your desktop to type. Let us do a small exercise right now. We still have roughly half an hour's time. This is also a good tip on how you can implement these techniques in your teaching. It's a very, very powerful technique. We will use a breakout session. What we'll do is I'll break out. By breakout, I mean I will partition you people into group of 4 or 5. Professor Vanishri, I need your permission for this. I hope it's okay. By that I mean I'll create breakout rooms and post a question. You all should discuss this question and then write your answer.
Please go ahead, Sudarshan.
Awesome. Thank you. So the question is 10th point in NEP. All right. Let us discuss for a couple of minutes and create a breakout session. Right? Okay. Don't try to type anything right now. I'll give you time to type and then get back. Let's only discuss right now. Are you able to see the message now? Can someone confirm that you're able to see the 10.10 that is displayed on item pool?
Yes.
Yeah, you're able to see that. Awesome. So try to read this. This is the 10.10 point. I call this 10.10 in NEP 10.10. Please take a look at it. So please note, as Professor Javed and me were discussing, Professor Vanishri was talking about blended learning, where you use both. Professor Javed was talking about flip teaching, where you ask people to watch the videos and come back to the classroom and interactively try solving some questions. Okay, what you do at home, homework is done in the classroom. What you do at class is done at home. That's called flipping. Okay, that's called flip teaching. All right. What the claim here is, do you think everything can be completely online, right? You think, Sangeeta, I'll help you out. This is the link. Someone's asking for the link. This is the link for people who joined in late. All right, can we completely replace? Is it even possible, right? What are the avenues which requires work? What are the places where it is close to, for example, let's say strength of materials like subject, okay, or some hardcore mechanical subject or civil engineering that involves you to get into a big lab and do a long experiment, whatever that is, right? In computer science, we make it trivial. We say, oh, it's only coding, you use your computer, etc. If it's microprocessor, do the simulation. And electronics, we also somehow escape. But mechanical, civil and all, Is it possible to do? What kind of future is in store? All right. So do not try typing anything. What we'll do is we will try to request. Let's take some. Maybe I'll take 3 hand raises. You can unmute yourself, talk, and then we'll create a breakout session. All right. Go ahead. Some 3 people want to attempt it. Go ahead and then raised hand. Garima, please go ahead.
Yeah, as I am from the ECE background, it is very difficult for us to conduct laboratories functions in offline. Online session, we can't explain the practicals more perfectly, which used to be performed on the breadboards and functional kits. We need CROs and functional generators in it. So it will be very difficult if we totally move on to the classroom. That is online session.
Okay. Now I have, very good point. But I would like to add one thing, and sort of it's also a wake-up call that I got. I'm going to sort of pass on that, copy-paste that message to you all. I'm reminded of one situation where one of my really good professors during my PhD days at IASC, he comes to the classroom, goes near the board, explains for 1 full hour, and none of us understand anything, right? And he realizes it. He's a good teacher, basically. Very good teacher, in fact. I have not seen a teacher better than him at the higher education level. He realizes none of us have understood. And he asks, did you all understand? What will we say? Sir, yes, no, somewhat understood and stuff like that. Right? Or we'll try avoiding making the eye contact. We'll see somewhere else, or we will, take a water break and then we'll leave the place. And he makes an amazing statement. He says, he doesn't say this is a difficult concept to understand. A typical teacher will do that. A good teacher, you know what he said? He said, I haven't figured out how to explain this concept easily. I understand it well, but I haven't figured out how to explain this easily. The point is not that the concept is advanced. Generally, whenever you say a concept is advanced in any subject, in my humble opinion, it is we do not know how to make it easy. For instance, many of you here, I see doctor, professor prefixes. I'm sure you are doing your PhD, or you're going to do your PhD, or doing your PhD right now. You know that a paper that is really, really hard, take a textbook concept of your choice in your subject. In textbook, it is so easy. In the research paper, it's very hard. Same concept will be written for 20 pages in a research paper, and it will be some award-winning paper in some conference or journal. But then the textbook version will be just half a page. So simple, so crisp, so beautiful, you understand it. They did not know how to write in such a way that you understand it today. Similarly, we probably do not know how to conduct an experiment without going into the lab. See, of course, we can get into the debate of here is an experiment. Tell me how to conduct this, etc., etc. I agree. But I would like to be an agnostic here. You know who's an agnostic? There's this word called theist, atheist, and agnostic in English. Atheist is someone who doesn't believe in God. Theist is someone who believes in God. Agnostic is someone who doesn't want to take a side. Someone who says there may be, there may not be. Politically correct. Okay. I would like to stay agnostic here, and I wish we all stay agnostic here. A sincere request that something that we do not know how to do does not mean it's impossible. Probably there's a way out. As they say, necessity is the mother of all inventions. This necessity will bring in an invention tomorrow where a YouTube video which shows how to clean the sink makes me go and clean the sink. Maybe there will be labs around. Maybe there will be central facilities where anyone can get into any other institute, pay some very nominal fee, use the lab, completely left to him, no help provided, okay, alone, with all maybe CCTVs there to ensure that you are using the apparatus properly, and will be fined if you don't use it properly, etc., etc. But then, can you all hear me?
Yes, we all.
Okay. Sorry, yeah, my video got frozen. And could be this would come at a very, very throwaway price compared to the tuition fees that a student pays. Every possibility, we do not know. Right now, the question is this: is open distance learning as stated in NEP 10.10 somewhere in the Nook corner states we have to get ready for this. Probably experts there who said, in fact, NEP is one of the best things, in my humble opinion, that has happened to India. Okay, and their experts had this forethought to think what would happen next. This is pre-COVID, by the way, much pre-COVID, if I'm not wrong, right? So will this happen sort of, flawlessly. Okay, Professor Javed actually adds to this. He says, will there be a paradigm shift in Open Universities offering? But absolutely yes. The era of Indira Gandhi National Open University, where they would send materials to your home and say, left to you, we will not help you after this. Contact classes, sometimes some teacher will come and teach. If you don't understand, we cannot help. Right? Of course, they never said this, but that's the theme of a typical open university across the world, not just IGNOU. In fact, IGNOU was much better than other universities, in my opinion. But then, will open universities master, like how my professor came and said, this is not advanced. I don't know how to teach you people in a simple way. Is it that we don't understand how to teach these concepts nicely online? Think probably yes. I myself have felt some of the topics that I have taught in the classroom with a student, one of our friends, I think Priyanka, if I remember it right, or someone, I don't remember the name, said, sir, there is emotion in the classroom. I also believe in that, but maybe you can get the emotion. You watch a movie, you get all emotional, you cry in the movie, right? Emotions come in on YouTube too, right? We do not know. Okay, can we think for a minute? Create a breakout session and try to answer this. I'll collect these answers and send it across to you people later, or maybe even now itself, right? But let us create a breakout session right now. Also see the power of breakout sessions. Professor Vanishri, I think you should create the breakout session. I don't have the right. You're the host of the... Just create a breakout session and randomly put some 5 people in a team.
Sure.
So as Professor Vanishri creates a breakout session, I would like to tell you people that this is one tip that I have got in online teaching. One facility that I have realized cannot beat physical, it beats physical classrooms left, right, center. By that I mean, you cannot create smaller silos of students in a classroom and ask them to discuss. This is called peer instruction, a very powerful teaching method. Let me just type that for your reference. Peer instruction by a physicist called Moser. He was the one who popularized this. Okay, Google for it sometime when you're free. May not be now because you'll be missing on what we'll be discussing. Can people learn by talking to each other? There's a very, very well-known Subhashita in Sanskrit which says, 1/4 of what you learn comes from the teacher, 1/4 only. Where does the 3/4 come from? Other quarter comes from your friends, other quarter comes from the textbooks, and the last quarter comes from within yourself. Okay, quarter. Teacher, friends, book, well within you. All right. The friend part is completely neglected. We never sit and learn with anyone. Right? They say it's a very integral part. Maybe it's even more than quarter there. It can even be more than half. I don't know. We learn well when we talk to the equals. Teacher there is 20 years more experienced than you. The person next door, sitting next to you, is as experienced or as inexperienced as you. Okay, these breakout sessions help you.
Two questions. We can interrupt. How many breakup sessions? How many breakup rooms should we create?
Maybe 20, just so that 120 people go on an average 6 per room.
6 per room. Fine. Sure.
Yeah. So in the breakout session, what you will do is you will So all of you, please accept your breakout sessions and then go there, discuss with people and punch in your answers. and we'll get back in 5 minutes.
Yeah, Sudarshan,
Yeah.
the rooms have been created and I think people have joined.
Okay.
So we need to discuss on the question which you posted, which is in the query list, right?
Correct, exactly. So in the breakout sessions, they should discuss that question for 5 minutes, get back and then answer. Maybe one group can put one answer or something.
Sure, sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Professor Vanish. Professor Vani, can you hear me?
Yeah, Sudarshan, we finished our discussion. We'll be joining the main call.
Okay, sure. So they all will be now coming out of breakout session, right?
Yes.
Sure. No problem. Take your time.
Yeah.
ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಇದೆ ತರ.
Right, nice to see everyone come back. I believe it was a very short duration. Probably you did not get much time to discuss. We'll wait for everyone to join back.
Sir, we are not getting you. I think you are muted.
Can you hear me? No?
Yeah, it's audible.
It's audible. So can someone quickly tell me before others join in, maybe we'll spend a minute or two quickly on, do you find this method effective? Maybe this very method was not very effective. You people were not used to, breakout sessions, but isn't it nice for the teacher to give a break of 5 minutes? Let students talk to each other. Create a small team of 3-4 people and leave them. And in fact, you have the advantage of going to these rooms and then talking to all the students and then coming back. You can barge into any room and then see what they're doing and then come back. Right? Can we do this in a classroom? Hell no. I don't think this is even imaginable in a classroom. There will be what we call the typical fish market idiom, right? So nobody can listen to anyone else. No two people can talk, in fact.
Unmute ಮಾಡಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು.
Yeah, we've in fact tried this during a tutorial session. We formed groups and asked them to discuss. As you said, it becomes a fish market over there.
Correct.
We cannot hear, they can't hear us talk rather than we can hear them. So yeah, but that is an effective way. What I feel is asking them to discuss amongst themselves rather than making them stand and discuss. I think forming groups, forming something like this, as you formed breakup, as we tried out now, that would be effective because they'd share better. Like one of them will represent and explain their views, collective views. So that would be effective rather than doing it in the mass.
Correct. So we call this the sage on the stage model. The sage on the stage model. Of course, we have been there, done that. But this can be. I'll tell you some of the possibilities. What I have seen people implement, and some of it even I have implemented. What we do is I'll give a question. This class, students will say, declare the first few minutes. This class will be a tutorial session. I am not going to teach you much. Whatever we learned from the previous session, I have 5 questions for you. Each question I will discuss, create a breakout session. And students, please note, in this breakout session, I have taken your choices of whom you want as group mates, teammates, and I've created that. See, in comma separated values, I'm sure most of you are computer science background people, you understand what I mean. You can create the database of students who will be with each other. Create a small mentor there. I mean, a senior student or your PhD student, or maybe a classmate itself who knows the concept better. Create him as the mentor and leave them and tell them, here is the question, break out, solve and get back. Okay, and you give in the item pool some 5-6 questions. Get the answers. Display the live marks there of the teams. See, students don't like if you tell their marks in public. But if the team's mark goes on public, the group spirit will start. You will see the way they will have cat and dog fights in a very healthy way. And they will enjoy your class like anything. And not to mention, you will get 5-on-5 feedback to your teaching feedback sessions at the end of the semester. See, learning can be joyous. Learning can be gamified. And here I'm entering a new zone. The idea of gamification, how you are glued to a gaming device for 10 hours but cannot sit for 45 minutes of lecture, is because in games there is something called gamification, the game engine. What they do is they ensure that they keep giving you this adrenaline rush. In Facebook, there's a notification that pops up. Some badges come, tells you who is doing what. For this little small rewards, Jivaratna rightly put, for these little rewards and brownie points, you will sit for hours together and then do it, where learning also becomes fun. That is only possible in an online setup. Tell me, how can you create breakout session? Let us create an infrastructure in online session. I'm a great lover of physical classrooms. I'm a very grandiloquent professor who wants this setup in a physical classroom. Then I should create small cubicles. If I have 60 students, 1 cubicle for 5 people, 12 cubicles. Imagine the amount of money this will involve. And cubicles should have good ventilation, lighting, facilities, right? This is not possible. In virtual world, this can be beautifully done. You just saw the demonstration. Although we couldn't do it properly, but you see the multitude possibilities out of breakout sessions, right? So I have just given you one examples. I have a feeling at least 20 such examples are in store. They are coming up in the next few years. We never even thought of breakout sessions. Zoom created it, Google Meet copied it, and now boom, we are here, using it with our students, gamifying their lives, right? Bringing in these flavors, again to quote my professor who said, I do not know how to teach this. Not that the concept is complicated. We do not know how to teach well online. Right. With this, I would like to cut short my talk, although I have 2 more questions to go. I think we are coming close to the end time. So my call for you all is, we are yet to explore point number 1. Point number 2 is, we do not know the trajectory. We should keep our eyes open, and we need to also ensure that we learn from each other. The peer instruction should not happen between the students. It should happen between the teachers too. We should come ahead and then have these conferences once every semester on best possible online teaching practices. I at least have collected some 30 to 40 tips. I wish I knew it some 1.5 years ago. I've been collecting from different places, different people. We have our own WhatsApp groups, and we have this informal conversations over Instagram and in person like this, over Skype, over Meet and things like that. If you put forth these 30 tips, if you can hear all these people who have mastered, like how Professor Richa was saying, she likes online teaching. Maybe we should make her talk what aspect of her teaching, the tip that she has used is making her like online teaching. Right? This is like saying neem leaf tastes good. How are you eating it? We should ask. What are you mixing it with? We should ask. Right? So we should probably meet often and learn from each other. That's the only way out. Cameras have come inside the classrooms. Drama actors and actresses became Bollywood stars. It is time for teachers to become as good as Bollywood stars, if not better. All right. We all should act, and we should sort of slightly try unlearning what we have been doing in the Sage on the Stage model. Lot to come, lot to learn. Keep your eyes open. And my humble request, especially I'm here in Mysore from the past 6 months, spending my sabbatical. Otherwise, I'm from IIT Ropar. I see a good blend of both North and South here from the second names, if I may comment. my call for all of you is that I think as teachers, with this last anecdote, I would like to end. A typical student who finishes his bachelor's, master's, does his PhD, becomes a teacher, we are always worried about the returns from our university or from our teaching or whatever. But it is believed, it is understood from time immemorial, returns for a good teacher is simply the happiness and sort of satisfaction he or she gets from teaching. I think we should not forget that. Mostly 90-95% of our time is spent cribbing about what is not right in our universities, what is going wrong and stuff like that. The joy of teaching has come to your desktops right now. We should make the best use of it. As teachers, I would say, I didn't mean to be very ideological here, but this is really missing in our country. A part of NEP's policy, as you can read in some places, they beautifully write, we want to get the Nalanda and Takshashila back. The kind of heritage and culture we had, the Guru Shishya Parampara, whatever that means in today's world, right? The fact that you have passionate teachers and hungry learners, right? That can only happen if you see teaching as sort of service. So with this, I would like to end my talk. I would like to go ahead with some questions. As and always, the take-home messages are these points. Please try to unlearn a few things. Please learn a few things. There's a Venn diagram here. There's a lot of possibilities in the online world too. Please don't be dismayed by saying, I love the physical classroom teaching. Nothing can happen here. A lot can happen. All right. Okay. So we'll go ahead with some questions with Professor Vanish's permission, assuming that we have 5 more minutes time.
Yeah, we do. We will be glad if anybody has any questions here. Dr. Javed, Sudarshan, I forgot to introduce you to Dr. Mohammed Javed. He's a collaborating host, and he's from IIT Allahabad, from the Department of Information Technology.
Dr. Sudarshan sir, it's very nice to see you, and I really loved the way you kept engaged us for nearly 2 hours 57 minutes. So definitely it is we all really understood that use of technology can make students more attentive. Means we can retain the what I can say, the energy in the students. I think this can be very effective tool, sir. I learned many things. So definitely I would try to incorporate in my teaching. And thank you so much for accepting our invitation, for delivering it. And I would also request you that in case it is possible for us to invite you, maybe if not offline, through online, definitely I would ask you to interact with our students.
Wonderful, my pleasure. To be my pleasure.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity. And Sudarshan sir, I must say, it was a very interactive and lively session. And I think for most of us who did not know, you shared a lot of inputs about how to take these classrooms in the coming days. I have a small point to add on. It's not happening only with higher education institutions. My kid is in class 2. Let me tell you, the other day when they had this breakout session, when they wanted to tell hello to their friends, I was amazed because I was working from home and I was thinking how kids at this age will understand what's happening to them when they sent to the breakout rooms. But you won't believe, they knew it. They're already prepared for what we are going through. And I was like, for those 20 days when I was at home, I saw how teachers for, second standard kids, I don't know about other classes. I've seen great transformation from first standard to second standard. Last year, I saw teachers were struggling. I am very tech savvy and I take pride in that. But I saw these teachers struggling. And this year, I see transformation. And I'm sure in the coming year, all of us will be in a different level. Right? I have that hope. And thanks to all this technological development and sessions like this. Just wanted to add that it's not only with higher education, it started from the base.
Yes, absolutely. The technological revelation and revolution is happening. I think we have to embrace it and should be part of it too. Right, the cribbing part happened in the neighborhood of the COVID rage, but right now it's all been there, done that. We have to move on positively, and it is in fact filled with positivity. Right. So wonderful point, Jivaratna. Please write to me. My email address is here. You said you're tech savvy. There are a few things that I also learned from interacting with the teachers. So I'm having a small group. I would like to put some of you into the group. Of course, all of you are welcome. But some people like Professor Richa, please join us in the group. Anyone who's interested, please write to me. But I'm pinpointing a few people here. It's sort of a must because I would learn more from you people. Professor Vanishi, Professor Javed, Professor Richa, Professor Sivaratna. Please write to me. This is my email ID. Any other questions? Any other clarifications? If not, let's not bother.
Yes, sir,
please.
I'm very happy to share my experience. I went with these Google breakout rooms for my object-oriented analysis and design, where I have assigned mini projects to the students in groups. when I've created, suddenly we went online because of this COVID, and I was thinking, how can I contact these people in groups? And I've got into breakup rooms, and the students were very happy to explain their projects, and they suddenly shifted to PowerPoint presentation also to show their designs of website and everything. They are enthusiastic, and I felt very happy. And with your session, I understood that teaching in online should be more enthusiastic from the teacher's side. If it is interesting from the teacher's side, obviously it becomes interesting to the students also. It was a very interactive session, sir. We learned so much, and till yesterday we are in a loop that when offline comes back, but you are teaching, we learned that yes, we can do everything in online. Thank you very much, sir. I have contacted you previously through Yayati Gupta madam, but unfortunately at that time you are not free to come to our session, sir, to our FDP session. But I'm so fortunate.
Yeah. So
that I
during
came.
that COVID second wave thing, I unfortunately lost a few near and dear ones, so I was quite busy. Only now we are getting the breathing space. I'll get back.
Sir.
Please write to me.
I contacted through Ayati Gupta, but unfortunately I missed them. But I'm very fortunate to listen your session now, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, Sudarshan, if you permit, we'll
wind up.
wrap this session here. And
Thanks,
yeah, we can take offline queries in case anybody has. Please post your queries so that Professor Sudarshan will answer them. And to wrap up, and it's always a pleasure having Dr. Sudarshan Iyengar as a resource person delivering. No, I cannot say you deliver lectures. You are a game master who keeps the audience grounded. Thank you so much, Sudarshan. It was a pleasure having you here.
Same here. I'm a little disappointed because whenever I visit SJC, there are nice flower and nice coffee, tea that I get. That's definitely missing in the online lectures.
Yeah. Next time.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll catch up sometime.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Sudarshan. Thank you, Dr.
very much,
Wali.
Javed.
It was very nice session. It was very nice.
Take care, all of you. Bye bye. Please write to me, all of you. Bye bye.
Bye bye, sir.
Bye. Bye. Yeah, all of you will break for some time. We'll join back at 11:30 for the next session by Dr. Pradeep Kumar from Amphisoft Technologies related to the usage of technologies in teaching learning process.
Ma'am, that lecture is tomorrow, I think, no, ma'am?
But we've rescheduled because of some changes a resource person requested.
Okay,
so
okay.
Rescheduled.
Fine. Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you.